SEO Moz keeps a great history of the Google algorithm changes. And if you look back at year 2006, 7, 8, 9, you see just a few updates, like one page on their website about each year. 2010, really, they started getting a little more expansive and writing about all the known changes. And in 2011, things really took off because Google started publishing their own list. For example, here's 10 things that changed for December. Here's 10 things that changed in November. They listed each one of those as just one item here at SEO Moz, but they've still got 3 pages worth of information. Just look at 2012 and look how many pages of incremental changes they've got. Not to mention Google started publishing up to 40 and even more changes monthly. So things really ramped up in 2012. This must go on for 8 pages. And as far as how that really can affect you, I ran across this article here at Search Engine Watch that really summarized the changes well. It talks a little bit about stuff that used to work, what happened in 2011, what happened in 2012, and what to do in the future going forward. And she outlines 5 points. You know, first, content is king, quality content rules. We all know that content for the sake of content, adding stuff to your site just to grow the site, which I used to advocate as an authority signal on a regular basis, is no longer a good idea. I would rather see someone post once a month than every other day with some drivel or unimportant information. Quality is what matters. Becoming an authoritative source of quality information about your industry. Second, and probably just as important, voice, personality, branding. First off, branding. Your company needs to get out there. And when I say branding, I mean a consistency of branding. You have your logo, you have it available in different shapes, perhaps a rectangular one and a square one. You have a brief paragraph about your company history, company officers, an industry-specific description, sort of like the description tag on your website. You get all your ducks in a row so that you're not chasing your tail as you're out there trying to consistently brand your business. Second, personality. This leads to Google authorship. I have an article on my site that's sort of written tongue-in-cheek as a joke called Buying Links in 2013 that I just wrote before the holidays. And I explain that authors themselves are becoming authoritative sources of information in Google. I explain how that works, how these authors, like this one from CNN, is listing himself as a contributor to, and this is giving quality content. This is giving content a signal that says it's quality because it's coming by a real person with a real face who works at a real place, who has a real biography. It's not some boilerplate information. And I don't mean to go into that article, but I think it's worth reading so you can understand what's important about the content on your site. Do Google authorship. Make sure that it's something you or an employee or source is willing to put their name and their face on. This content for the sake of content, spinning stuff is a waste of time when putting it on your own site. Longer and more in-depth articles, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with number one. Really just make them good stuff. Social media is growing, and writing longer, more in-depth articles along with quality stuff is a way to get that stuff shared. Get other real people, real personalities to share your stuff. The fourth one here is for every piece of content that you're adding to your site, be ready with a tweet, a Facebook post, a Google Plus edition, perhaps posting it in a community. Have sort of like a mini marketing plan for each one of your content editions so you can get the most out of it. And finally, multimedia. You know, I've been touting video forever, but especially with the use of mobile phones and the implement, at least here where I live in Portland, 4G just really kind of hit mainstream in 2012, and it's finally really catching on. I know they've been saying this is the year of mobile for 5 years, but now that we've got the bandwidth, I think it really is. And people are consuming information in different ways. They don't have time to read long articles. When you do write these longer more in-depth articles. Make sure that you're using lots of lists and bullet points and headlines. Take the time to format it well so it's easy to read. And use images too. And I'm not talking about stock images, purchased images, images you stole from somewhere else. That game's long over. And even if you purchase a stock photo legitimately and you take the extra step to crop it, change the file name, hell, maybe even change the format, maybe you give it alt tags, Google still recognizes that you snagged that content. Or at the and not that that'll penalize you, but you just won't get credit for it. Use real images that you take yourself or outsource to a photographer. If you still prefer to think of SEO as a trick, then trick Google into thinking you're legitimate by being legitimate. Take a look at the kinds of videos on my site. Almost a year now, I've had this video production and a gallery here, and you can see the kinds of samples: 60-second profiles, customer testimonials, question and answer sessions, not boring, pointless videos, but 30, 60, and 90-second spots that are designed to engage the person who's watching it. Take a look at Animoto. Animoto is an unbelievable platform for creating your own videos. You can create videos of any size, any length. It starts with 30-second videos for free that you can create out of a few of your own pictures. And if you get creative, you can actually show pictures of text, big images, messages in those videos. If you don't have the wherewithal to get a live cameraman out there and record you talking, then you can say what you have to say with images and slides that you build yourself. And we use Animoto for all our clients. And then she also mentions that some people are already saying infographics are passé. And I agree. Crapographics, poorly done infographics, blatantly self-promotional infographics that serve no value at all to anyone. Sure, those are passé and they always have been. They're not going to, they may look good and give you a nice ego boost, but they're not going to grab you any shares. They're not going to, it's not going to make people want to put it on their sites. And that's what you need to do. You need to think about what is so good. What can I make that's so good that competitors would want to use it on their site? If it weren't for my name being in it, a competitor would use this on their site. That's the attitude you have to think of. And whether you have an ad agency, dozens of creative people trying to think of this for you, or you're trying to come up with brainstorming ideas on yourself, a good place to play around is called Visually. It's visual.ly. They actually let you create your own infographics. There's all sorts of plans from starting it free where they're branded with their information. And I don't want to give you a whole tutorial here, but this will get your creative juices flowing. Look at some